What's up, everyone? It's Denise Salcedo. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. Today, we are going to be chatting all things the black and gold brand, WWE NXT, the August 24th edition. And for the most part, we had a pretty decent show here today. I think we got plenty to talk about. We're coming off the heels of NXT Takeover 36, which was a fantastic NXT Takeover overall, which featured one of my favorite matches that I have seen in a very, very long time. Part 2 to Ilya Dragunov versus Walter. We're coming off of Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole. We have a brand new NXT champion in Samoa Joe. We also, outside of what we've seen from NXT TakeOver, we're also getting all of this outside information on all of the changes that are going down on NXT. And we're starting to kind of see a little bit of those changes. Nick Khan did mention in an interview with Ariel Helwani that in the next couple of weeks, we will be seeing more of those changes on NXT. Whether or not we're going to love those changes, well, we'll find out. There is plenty to get into here today. For those of you who are new to the show, first and foremost, I want to welcome you all. It has been an insane weekend of nonstop professional wrestling. I feel like I'm literally eating, sleeping, breathing pro wrestling, especially since this past Monday, guys. It has been nonstop. Also, for those of you who are new to this channel, new to this show, this is a very interactive stream, so please make sure to take part in the live chat as I will be reading your thoughts, your comments, your questions as we go throughout this entire show. If you want to make sure your question gets read on the air or your statement, whatever the case may be, you can always send in a super chat and you will definitely get read on this stream. We're actually going to kick things off with our first super chat, and then we're going to dive right into the show and talk about things in a very nice chronological format. So here we go. We actually got our first super chat from Brandon Rosen, who says, here you go, Denise, a little something to help cover any gambling losses in Vegas. So interestingly enough, I did not have any time to even gamble $1. Hell, not even 1 penny. I wanted to gamble, at least just for fun. It's not like I gamble every day or anything like that. But I did want to gamble a little bit just for fun, but I just didn't have the time to do it. So unfortunately, I did not live up to Vegas expectations. I did not have what would you say, the Las Vegas experience, although that wasn't my first time in Las Vegas. I have gambled in Las Vegas before, but either way, I didn't get to do it this time around, guys. It was just nuts. There was just so much to do, and when I came back, I completely fell behind, guys. I was 8 videos behind in terms of the normal videos that I have to create. So I was very, very stressed out, but I'm caught up now. Now I'm just 4 videos behind. So yay. But we got a super chat from Cheeky Monkey who says, loved your interview with the former Faith the Lioness and noticed it was your second. Do you think she is what the new NXT is looking for? So here we go. So for those of you guys who do not know what Cheeky Monkey is talking about, but I'm sure you guys all do. So from the looks of it, so if you watch that Triple H Scrum video that I posted up on my YouTube channel, and I'm sure there's news bits of it everywhere, Triple H did get into these changes that are happening on NXT, and he made sure, I don't remember verbatim exactly what he said verbatim, but he did basically say that these changes are not anything new. According to him, these are changes that have already been put into place, that have already been a thing, essentially. So he made it seem like it wasn't anything new. And he really emphasized that I think a lot of us would think that, oh, if you're an independent wrestler, that is the way to make it to WWE. Because, for such a long time, we've seen guys, in the indie scene, work the independents, make the name for themselves, get to the WWE. And, we've seen that play out different of times. However, Triple H did emphasize that necessarily being an independent wrestler isn't going to be the direct, I guess you can say, opening to get your foot into WWE. So even though you would think that's what they want, it kind of isn't what they want. What they're looking for are people that they believe can be superstars. So it doesn't necessarily help or hurt if you come from this independent wrestling background. That was essentially what he was trying to get at. And we did see a little bit more of that in the Nick Khan interview, because he did tell Ariel that essentially he they're making it more easily accessible for people to get to the WWE, for these athletes to get to the WWE. And when I went to the tryouts, a lot of these guys, again, according to Triple H, he said this in the scrum, he said that I think it was like maybe, I don't know, 90% of those people that were at the tryouts, they had never even been in a ring before. So he said it was roughly about 90%. And there is a guy later on that we do see on NXT here today that I am going to talk about, because I think he's kind of a perfect example of what the new NXT is looking for. So that is going to be interesting to kind of talk about. And I will talk about that once we get to his actual match. And it was funny too, because it took me a second when I interviewed Faith. It took me a second to realize that she was actually somebody that had a little bit more of a background. But either way, it was really nice to talk to her. And it's really interesting to see what is going on, because even afterwards, after the tryouts, I ran into two guys, one of which did get signed by WWE. And like, I kind of asked him, like, what was his background? And he was definitely an athlete, track and field. So it is very interesting to see some of the people that are going to be getting opportunities, and take that for what you will, everybody. We got another super chat from Brandon Charles Powell, who says, thanks for representing the common man on We're Live, pal, sharing your experience at SummerSlam. Yes, that was in regards to Allegiant Stadium and kind of not necessarily being the best place, not the best stadium I've ever been to. I'll tell you that much. And I've been to plenty of stadiums. That was not my favorite stadium, not even top 5. We got another super chat from Flamethrower, who says, bad news. I just got released from my work because I'm 5'11" and in my 40s. Wait, is this a joke? It's a joke, right? It's a joke? Okay, I hope it's a joke. I don't want to, I'm thinking it's a joke, but I just want to make sure that it's not a joke. I'm pretty sure it's a joke, though. I think you're throwing a nod to the NXT changes, right? Okay. We got a super chat from Cameron Mumford. Thank you so much to Cameron. I see all your support on Twitter. I appreciate it. Cameron says, not a blowaway show, but lots of building blocks here to start the building of this new era. And this was a tape show, so obviously we're going to be seeing more of these changes later on, per se. But given that the releases already happened, like a couple Fridays ago, a couple weeks ago, you are seeing a little bit of those changes here today. And we'll talk about that in a second, because I think we did see a little bit of those here today. But thank you so much to Cameron Mumford for sending in this super chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And Flamethrower confirms that it's a joke. All right, just wanted to make sure, because I was like, all right, what if he really did lose his job? And I don't want to be making fun of the guy or something like that. So I just wanted to make sure. But we got a comment from Carney Business, who says the super indie era of NXT is over. See, I know a lot of people are saying that, and maybe I'm still hanging on to whatever hope there is left, because I don't want that era of NXT to be over whatsoever. Takeover was such a good show, and like that's what people want. Like, people want a show like NXT Takeover 36. That's what we love about NXT. That's what we want to see from NXT, and I do hope that we get that there. We got people putting over a Flamethrower's joke. It says that joke was funny. It was funny, even though I wasn't sure. We got a comment from Filmy Wrestling, who says, for the most part, a really fun show and follow-up to Takeover. The dark cloud over NXT is still there, but this episode and Takeover did keep me hopeful that the show would remain a good one for the time being. I really hope so too, because at the end of the day, the way I see it is, if you're investing your time, you're investing your effort into NXT, you're going to want the people watching to actually enjoy it. So hopefully we'll see about this here too. We got a comment from Planet Aussie, who says NXT was amazing tonight and is new to the Twitch. So thank you so much for sending this in. We got people saying that NXT is dead. It definitely also doesn't help like doing the tapings either. Like, I'm not a fan of the tapings. I love to watch the live shows. I feel like, when the information is just like out there, like, I don't know, like, I just feel like obviously some people are going to be like, no interest, don't want to watch, don't really care. Personally, I love the live aspect of shows, so I do kind of miss that just a tad bit there. But here we go, guys. And everybody popped at the joke. I love that. All right, guys, here we go. So let's talk about what went down on this episode of NXT, which was not a bad episode of NXT. I'll say that much. So we opened up with Cameron Grimes doing his $1 million celebration. So as you all know, he defeated LA Knight at NXT Takeover 36 in what ended up being a really good match. So I was on here last week kind of trashing the fact that we had to see this match once again. Well, you know what? I take it back. I really, really do take it back, guys, because for the opener, I thought it was a really fun show. I mean, a really fun match, to kick off the show. And I kind of felt bad. I was like, wow, I was so mean about that match being on this card. You know what? I take it back because I did enjoy myself. I thought it was pretty fun. I thought that they played the story very well. And then today we come out here and we have this $1 million celebration. We essentially have Ted DiBiase kicking this off and basically telling Cameron Grimes that, he came back because he was looking for a person worthy enough to take hold of the $1 million championship. He said he was looking for somebody with a strong mind and a strong heart. Oh, so nice. So very nice. And then Grimes starts telling Ted DiBiase, but you drove me crazy, he tells him. Like, you drove me nuts. Like, why did you have to do all of that? And Ted DiBiase confirms that he was actually testing him. And I'm glad that they clarified that because that was one of my issues where that didn't come through when they first started telling the storyline. That wasn't clear. It didn't feel clear to me whatsoever. And so maybe that's just my fault. But either way, I like that they actually cleared that up, though. Afterwards, Grimes basically tells Ted DiBiase that the reason why he feels that he won this match was in part to the stipulation, because the stipulation, as you all know, was that if Cameron Grimes lost this match, we would have to see Ted DiBiase as the butler of LA Knight. And he basically said that he didn't want to see Ted DiBiase as his butler when he was out there scrubbing toilets. He didn't want to imagine Ted DiBiase doing the exact same things. So I like this. Then afterwards, we see Grimes and Grimes ask, like, where does Cameron Grimes go now? And both Ted DiBiase and Cameron Grimes synchronously, they both shout at the exact same time, to the moon. And it's a really nice moment. We see a bunch of dollar bills coming out, fake dollar bills, or the Cameron Grimes dollar bills. And I did tweet this on Twitter because I actually thought it would have been really darn hilarious if they would have had Baron Corbin out of nowhere just coming out and being like, bills, money, oh my God. And he's grabbing them. And all of a sudden he looks and they're fake bills. I thought that would have been absolutely nuts to see. I thought that would have been hilarious. A missed opportunity right there, man. But either way, that was a nice opening segment. Later on the show, we see Ted DiBiase leaving, but before he does, we actually find out that he swerved Cameron Grimes, ladies and gentlemen. He swerved him. He gave him a replica of the $1 million championship. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it looks like we're pretty much wrapping this storyline up with Ted DiBiase and Cameron Grimes. At least that's how it felt like here tonight. So what did you guys think about this? Go ahead and send in your thoughts. Do you think this is it for Ted DiBiase and Cameron Grimes? Was that the official goodbye? Because it did feel like it. And what's next for Cameron Grimes? Send in your thoughts here. Let's see what we got. We got so many comments. A lot of them are about other topics, so I'll probably have to come back from this. Actually, here we go. We got a comment from Alex Aguilera who says that this was a great run and a great storyline. Says, quote, I think that Ted DiBiase kid will be a solid addition to the main roster. He looks like a great prospect. Hope he gets his big break. And we got people basically saying, Malcolm Mitchell here says that he's not sure where Cameron Grimes goes from here. The thing about this is that Cameron Grimes is somebody that is definitely getting himself over. Even when he was in that crappy storyline with Dexter Lumis, he found a way to get himself over. So I think no matter what they do, he'll get himself over. But I hope that they put him in there with people that are going to, because Cameron Grimes, like, he's this very funny character, this very funny persona. We all know that, right? But the guy can actually go in the ring. And so he has that aspect down too. He has both aspects. He has the in-ring aspect and the personality aspect. And so he's somebody that can definitely deliver on both ends. And I think that they should definitely highlight that a little bit more. And yeah, we did see that a little bit with LA Knight, but they can definitely maximize that in my opinion. So we'll see about that. And let's see, we got a comment from Advi Devon who says that they see Grimes challenging Roddy for the Cruiserweight title, assuming Strong takes the title from Kushida. You might be onto something here because if you recall, later on in the show, Malcolm Bivens says that Roderick Strong will be issuing an open challenge next week. So that does open up a window for Cameron Grimes. I think that would actually kind of work. So we'll see about that. Maybe he'll answer the open challenge. Who knows? We'll see how that all goes down. Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and move on because after this, we had Ridge Holland versus Timothy Thatcher. So this was a really good match. Actually, before I get into the breakdown of this match, we do got a super chat from Anima666 who says, hey, my first super chat. Thanks for what you do. Oh, yeah. I'm so happy that you did your first super chat here on my show. Hell yeah. Thank you so much to Anima666 for sending in the super chat. Congratulations. You are now in the super chat club. The super chat club. Oh, dang, I just came up with that. Oh, that's good. That's good shit right there, pal. The super chat club. All right. Okay, never mind. I started to overthink this, guys. I was like, nah, I want to come up with a different name. All right, here we go. We got another super chat from Malcolm Mitchell who says, is the SummerSlam hat being rested tonight? And my SummerSlam hat's actually right next to me. One second. What's up? The SummerSlam hat. I wore it for like 2 streams and I'm probably not going to wear it right now, but I did wear it for fun I wore it for my SummerSlam recap, and then I also wore it for the Raw show. I don't normally wear hats because my head's way too big, but it was just funny to wear the hat for like a bit. So it is going to be rested here for today. I'm back to normal. SummerSlam Las Vegas Denise is starting to fade a little bit. So, back to normal and all of that here. And we got so many comments here. I love this. We have comments that pertain to other things, so I will circle back to those. The easiest way to make sure you get your comment read on here is to make sure that it pertains to the topic that we're on so that I can make sure to actually read it here. And Johairo Lopez says, Super Chat Club, put it on a t-shirt. Hell yeah. We also got another super chat from Khaled Adam who says, hi, Denise. Which celebrity were at the after party? So I'm going to sound like, here's a clarification. When I went to the SummerSlam after party, I only attended the red carpet. I wasn't in the actual after party. Like I went, I did my interviews, and then I left. But in terms of celebrities that were there was Tiffany Haddish, as you guys know. I know Mario Lopez was also there, since you guys also saw him on SummerSlam. And then they also had, I think the guy's name is Matt James. He was on The Bachelor, and he was there with his girlfriend, Rachel. I forgot her last name, but I'm not big on the Bachelor, Bachelorette stuff, but they were there too. And then I'm trying to think who else. I'm pretty sure there was some other people. And then there was obviously people that don't walk the red carpet. They just like go right into the after party, so you never see them. I actually saw Randy Orton pass by, but he didn't do the red carpet. I saw Randy Orton pass by like through the crowd area behind me. So that was pretty cool because there was people there watching the red carpet so they could see. So they were there to see the wrestlers, obviously. And then all of a sudden you got Randy Orton just passing by. So I thought that was a really cool moment for the people that were there. So really awesome there. But thank you so much to Khaled for asking this question here. Alrighty, guys. So here we go. Let's get into Ridge Holland versus Timothy Thatcher because I pretty much enjoyed this match. Since Ridge Holland has come back, they have been pushing him from the looks of it. And what I liked about this match is that we've talked about this. Ridge Holland, he obviously isn't like the greatest in the ring yet. Like he's still like, there's still things to work on. He's not bad, but there's still things to work on. And this match with Timothy Thatcher was essentially Timothy, helping him get better in the ring, working with him, helping him get better. This was Timothy Thatcher, teaching him how to work a little bit better. So I like this. We see them exchange uppercuts between both of each other right at the top of this match. Ridge Holland hits him with a forearm, I I did like this. I like the fact that we didn't see Ridge Holland do any rest holds. Like, a guy that size should not be doing rest holds because we all know that could get, a tad bit boring. So I like that he did not do that whatsoever. And here's the thing too, is that, we've been talking a lot about this new NXT and, getting all these guys that are big and that are fit and all of that, superstar type guys. Here's the thing, and here's the problem with that too. And this is why I think you still need people that can work and people that, either come from the independent scene or whatever, that know how to work, because who is going to teach these guys how to work and put on a great match unless you have these great workers in the ring with them? And this was a match that kind of reminded me of that because, obviously you have Timothy Thatcher who's helping somebody like Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland has all the tools. Now Timothy Thatcher is helping him, finesse those tools. And I do think that you need to have a balance with the type of guys that you're bringing into developmental. I think you need to have, those people that you feel okay, they're great athletes and they could be superstars. I get that. I totally get that. But I also think that you need guys that can that also know how to put on a great match. I think you definitely need to have a nice balance of that. So that was one of the things that I was thinking about while watching this match here. We do end up seeing Ridge Holland take the win here. Perfectly fine. Again, we get to see this. We know that they're doing stuff with him, and we'll talk about that a little later on in the show because he will come up again. And we also saw post-match, we saw Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch back from injury. They attacked Tommaso Ciampa post-match, and then we also see now it's looking like we're gonna see a for sure thing with Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland, Oney Lorcan, and Danny Burch. So that's going to be pretty cool. So for the most part, I like what they're doing here, and I like what they're doing with Ridge Holland. I think that they've been feeding him to some of their best workers, and that's the way to do it. So what did you guys think about Ridge Holland? How do you guys feel about the direction that they're heading with him? And so we are going to see BTW next week. We are going to see Ridge Holland versus Tommaso Ciampa. And I know that match is going to absolutely be awesome because Tommaso Ciampa is literally like one of the best guys that they have in there, one of the best guys that can work with these guys that maybe aren't at the same level just yet. So good stuff there. We got a comment from Nicholas Jackus who says, you're right, Denise. NXT needs people to teach and put over the way Jericho does in AEW. We got Christopher Segovia who says, Denise, you're speaking facts. Hell yeah. Nicholas also says, I really hope we see Ciampa get away from the tag team picture. Oh, okay. So Nicholas says he doesn't want to see Ciampa still in the tag team title picture with Thatcher. That's the thing, man. Like, I like what they're doing with Thatcher and Ciampa because they are cool. Like, they're two legit guys that you buy as badasses. But I think that there's just so much more that they haven't tapped into with Tommaso Ciampa. And I think that, man, can you imagine, like, Ciampa versus Samoa Joe? Damn, like, there's so many different options that they can go with here. And, that I still want to see more of. So I get what you're saying, getting him away from the tag team title picture, but I also still don't mind him as a tag team with Thatcher, though. I really, really do not. We got a comment from Edwin Pacino who says, can we make Timothy Thatcher a star already? Can we place the machine behind him? He's quite the technician. I like that Pete and Ciampa are dangerous men with their own dangerous pupils, if you will. Dude, I have been rooting so hard for Pete Dunne. He is the guy that I want to see at the very top. He's one of the guys, not the only guy, but one of the guys. I feel like there's just so much to Pete Dunne that, I don't know, they need to do more with him. And I know I'm not saying they're not doing anything with him, but I do see him as one of those guys that should be, in the main title picture. And again, we'll talk about him more a little later because, again, he will come up later in this scenario because we do get a nice little tease with what I want to see. So we do get a tease later on. But thank you so much to Edwin for also sending in this comment here. And let's go ahead and jump into our next topic. So September 14th, ladies and gentlemen, mark your calendars because that is going to be the official wedding for Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis. That is the Index wedding, September 14th. consider this your invitation. Moving on, after this, we had a women's tag team match, and there were some interesting things to talk about here. So first and foremost, we have Casey and Kayden versus Jacy Jayne and Gigi Dolan. And I gotta say, though, I really, even though I'm a fan of Gigi Dolan, and because I got to see her work a lot in the independent scene, and that sort of thing. Like out of all the women, I'm probably most familiar with Gigi and her work. However, I really do think that in terms of a team that is more solid in the ring, it was definitely Casey and Kayden. They did a fantastic job. They've been looking fantastic. Like every single match that they've had, I recall myself coming out here and saying, I am a fan of those two as a team. But I actually thought they completely outshined Jacy and Gigi in this match. Like 100%, they just came across a little bit more polished. And so I kind of enjoyed their work a little bit more in this match. And so I'm glad that they took the win. But to kind of get into a little bit about this match here, I do want to mention that Jacy and Gigi are an interesting pairing. I kind of like the dynamic between the two. I'm curious to know a little bit more of Jacy, because here's the thing. This is what I kind of felt. When I saw them coming out, I thought to myself, this is perfect for Gigi, because this is who she is. She's more of that like edgy, cool personality. Like she's more of like the dark, mysterious, rock and roll type of girl. But Jacy Jayne, I don't know much about her, but it almost feels like they're molding Jacy Jayne to be like a different version of Gigi Dolan. Like here's the thing with Casey and Kayden, they're two different people that are in a team, but none of them are trying to be like the other person. With Gigi and Jacy, I kind of felt like they were trying too hard to make Jacy be like Gigi, where I think like maybe she should be a little bit more of her own person. And maybe I'm reading too much into this, but it felt instantaneously. Like this felt natural for Gigi. It didn't feel natural for Jacy in this. So I do hope that they, talk things out and figure out how they're going to tweak things a little bit, because in terms of character, you want to buy what they're doing out there. When they go out there, you want to buy it. And right now I'm not buying it just yet. Like it doesn't feel authentically Jacy is what I'm trying to get. It doesn't feel like her authentic person. When they had cool Kyle O'Reilly and you're like, that doesn't feel authentic to Kyle O'Reilly. That's kind of how I felt a little bit with this one here. For the win, we do see Casey do her 450 with a neck breaker for the finisher. I mean, it's always phenomenal to see her do that. So that's pretty much what I want to get at with this match. And again, we do see Casey and Kayden win. Later on, though, there was a segment with Gigi and Jacy Jayne and Mandy Rose. We finally got Mandy Rose back. I think she was gone for like a week or two. I don't know. I lost track. But so last week, we were talking about these vignettes that they played for Gigi and Jacy, where they're coming out and they got the roses and, they're talking about us, this and that, this and that. They're not in the same vignette together, Jacy or Gigi, but they're still connected because the way that it's shot and what they're saying and the roses and everything, it's sort of, the exact same thing. So that they're a pair. But I kind of felt that it was a little dumb that this week they had, because they got this loss, Mandy Rose, essentially, she tells them like, you should join me. Like, I can help you. Like, I forgot exactly what she said, but she's basically saying that she can help these two girls out. And so they kind of like nod and follow her along. But then I'm thinking to myself, why did you play the vignettes last week and then do this segment this week? It contradicts that, because last week they showed the roses, Mandy Rose. You're essentially already telling me that Mandy Rose is, doing something with these girls. And we already knew that that was going to happen based on some of the interactions that we've already seen with them. And we never found out what they were whispering about like a couple of weeks ago. So this was very weird. It kind of felt like the pieces were a little bit out of order. If they would have done, this, I don't know, a week before they played the vignettes and then do the vignettes and then have them pick up a win, I thought that would have made a little bit more sense at the way that they played this out, because I did think, Mandy essentially offering her help this week kind of contradicted what we saw from their vignettes the prior week. So, and if you're watching NXT on a weekly basis, I think you know what I'm trying to get at here, where it doesn't flow in a perfect storyline. It's sort of disconnected here, disjointed is what I'm getting at. But let's see what you guys thought, because I did see a couple of comments coming in here. We got a super chat from Brandon who says, I like Gigi and JC, but the Mandy Rose segment was weird. Like they're telling the story backwards. Didn't we see the three of them together? Thank you, Brandon. Thank you. So that's what it was. So if I remember how all of this played down, this was the order of events. We had Mandy. Okay, so Gigi Dolan, I think she was wrestling JC Jane that day when we saw Mandy Rose debut into NXT, and she was sort of doing like the scouting thing. Then we saw a mess with Frankie Monet and Robert Stone and Jessica Maya. Then that ended up being its totally own separate thing. Okay, we did see Mandy Rose approach them and tell them that it looks like the Robert Stone brand is under new management, right? Okay, but still, that ended up not meaning anything, at least for now. And then we see them talking backstage, Mandy Rose, Gigi, and JC Jane, and they're whispering. They're, talking amongst themselves. Okay, cool. Then after that, we get these vignettes. Okay, cool. And then after this, we get the tag team match. And then afterwards, all of a sudden, Mandy's asking them, to essentially join her or something. So it does feel very, very disconnected. I think I don't mind the story. I don't mind the pairing. I'm interested in it, like this girl power type of group. I just don't think that the way that it's being told necessarily makes sense if you're watching the weekly product. If you come in randomly and don't watch every week, then all right, fine. But if you're watching every week, it doesn't make sense. But thank you so much to Brandon for sending this in here. We got a comment from Josh Bowen who says that Casey and Kaden are way more polished. Casey and Kaden have been groomed for a while. And let's see what else we got here. This one is from Christopher who says they should get rid of the NXT tag teams. There aren't a lot of teams. If Natty, if Tamina defend the titles in all three brands. Bro, I'm with you there, man. This was something that we were talking about and has been a major discussion point, because I think a lot of people kind of felt that way for a very, very long time there. Let's see what else we got here. I'm going through a couple more of these comments here, and we got one from Christopher Marino who says, the Rose segments, I didn't think of Mandy because Gigi always had a Rose thing on the indies. You're right about that. You are right about that. She did always have the roses, excuse me. But what about JC? You see what I mean? It doesn't make sense. And then given the fact that we saw them whispering before this and Mandy was scouting them, you can't help but to automatically go to Mandy Rose. So I do get what you mean by this, but in terms of the story that we're seeing, it doesn't make sense. But it's fine. Whatever. We all know that's going to be like this awesome girl group. So, all right, I'll go with it. All right, guys, here we go. So, BTW, before we move on to the next topic here, I just want to remind you guys that I am live 3 times a week. It has been absolutely nuts. So, guess what, guys? This past Friday, with CM Punk's debut on AEW Rampage, was my most watched podcast on here ever. Okay. And it was absolutely nuts. If you joined me, I want to say thank you so much, because that show was bonkers. But anyways, I'm live Tuesdays to talk about NXT. And for those of you who still care about NXT, so thank you very much. If you don't care about NXT, I'm out of a show here. Then we also have Dynamite on Wednesdays. That was my most popular show, but now I'm wondering if Smackdown AEW Rampage coverage is going to take over. So far, those shows have been very popular because we're talking about Rampage, people are interested in. And then given the fact that, this week on Smackdown, it's going to be a pretty big episode because we got the return of Becky Lynch. We got the return of Brock Lesnar. Then you add AEW Rampage to that. Who knows what my most popular show of the week is going to be now. But either way, as of right now, it's still technically my AEW Dynamite show on Wednesday. So make sure you guys tune in for that. And then again, Friday, I am live to talk, like I said, SmackDown and Rampage. So lots to go down there. Let's move on. So one of the things that we kind of got into last week, and this is interesting because this was the topic that I felt we spent a couple of minutes on last week. And this was in regards to Frankie Monet. A lot of people during the chat were basically saying they don't like what they're doing with Frankie Monet. And they could do so much more. We all know, Taya Valkyrie, she really made a big name for herself outside of WWE. When you talk about somebody putting in the work, Taya Valkyrie is that person. She put in the work, traveled across the globe, wrestled for like everybody, and really made a name for herself. And so obviously, a lot of people are familiar with her work and therefore have been a little bit disappointed with what they've been doing with her on NXT. And that's a given, especially if you know what she can bring to the table. There are going to be people who are bummed. So that was a big conversation that we had last week. Well, one of the other things that we talked about was the fact that when she made her debut onto NXT, she challenged Raquel Gonzalez. And I thought that they were going to do something with that, and they didn't. And then we saw Raquel go into this story with Mercedes Martinez, then Xia Li, then Dakota Kai. Now it looks like maybe Dakota Kai won't be on NXT anymore, so it looks like they're wrapping up that story. But we had a tease with Raquel and Kaylie Ray on NXT TakeOver. But now, tonight, we had a tease between Frankie Monet and Raquel Gonzalez. So backstage, Raquel is being interviewed by Mackenzie Mitchell, and Frankie Monet essentially approaches her and she challenges her. And this felt most like Taya Valkyrie. This was the most Taya Valkyrie thing that we've seen of her in NXT. It really, really felt like the original Taya Valkyrie that we all know and we know can be awesome. So it was cool to see that. And we'll see what happens, though. I almost feel like this could just be another tease, because I don't know if they're going to go down the direction with Kaylie Ray or are they going to go down this direction with Frankie Monet. We just don't know at this point. And let's see what else we got here. We got so many comments here. This one's from Christopher, who says WWE should let Frankie Monet use her gimmick that she had on Impact. Well, it's like a different variation. Like the Frankie Monet character is a different variation of who she was on Impact. You know, this very she's always been like this very, like the bougie type of girl, like bougie and bad and all of that. You guys heard the theme song. So it's a different variation of that, but right now it kind of feels like they kind of moved away from that when she started doing the stuff with Robert Stone and with Jessica Mea. It kind of feels like they're moving from that. I kind of want them to go backwards a little bit and kind of circle back to what she was doing when she first entered NXT, because I was a fan of that. So we'll see how this works out. Sam3 says, we want Frankie as champion like yesterday, especially now that it's not looking like it's going to be Dakota Kai. It's not looking like it's going to be Dakota Kai as of right now. And we have the Cooch97 saying that the Taya Valkyrie and AAA was the best. And yeah, she was very awesome there. Joel Fernandez has a suggestion and says triple threat with Raquel, Frankie, and Kaylie Ray. Not a bad idea, but not what I wanted. Oh, this is in regards to Joel BTW, what he thinks. This wouldn't be bad. I wouldn't hate it. Honestly, I would not hate this whatsoever, actually. Now that I see this on here, I do not hate it. And thank you. This is a comment from Reductive92 who says that Frankie Monet is a Taya variant. Exactly. It's a different variation of who Taya Valkyrie is. Alrighty, guys, we're going to move on from this, because after this, we had, speaking of Kaylie Ray, she had a match against Valentina Feroz. Oh, man, I forgot how to pronounce her last name. Kaylie Ray versus Valentina. This was a quick match here. We see Kaylie Ray body slam her a couple of times. To be honest, I thought this was going to be this was a short match. Don't get me wrong. It was a short match. I thought it was going to be even shorter than this. So it went a lot longer than I expected, and it wasn't even a long match whatsoever, but it was perfectly fine. They gave time to Kaylie Ray to shine, for the people that aren't familiar with her, to get to see her just a little bit more. And she ended up winning with the gory bomb. Good stuff there. In terms of Valentina, I don't think that they should have her wrestle with those feathers, because those feathers were literally falling and going all over the mat. So I hope that they do kind of get rid of that here. But here we go, guys. I have a prediction. So we need to talk about this here, because it's prediction time. So we've been talking a lot about these NXT changes, all right? Well, based on the fact that we saw, we saw Kaylie Ray, we've seen Walter, we see Ilya Dragunov recently on recent editions of NXT. based on reports that NXT UK contracts might be up by the end of the year, my prediction based on what we're seeing is that they're going to start cherry picking which talent to bring over to NXT and which talent they're just going to let their contracts run out. I do not think, and this is just a prediction, I do not know anything. This is literally just a prediction. I do not think NXT UK is going to necessarily be lasting very long. That's just my prediction based on what we have been seeing. Now, I could be totally and completely wrong, but I would not be surprised, especially with these changes being made. And given the fact that not a lot of people watch NXT UK, hell, I don't even watch NXT UK, and I watch pretty much everything. So we'll see about that, but I wanted to get my prediction in just in case it does happen. I want to make sure I was out here saying it. And if it doesn't happen, then I just got egg on my face, so it's okay. Let's see what we got here. Someone says it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler. Nah, man, it's literally a prediction, but but I get what you're saying because we all know that nobody watches NXT UK, which is kind of sad, but it is what it is. That's just the truth. Brandon says, I agree, Denise. I think NXT UK will eventually fold. And speculation queen, definitely speculation queen as of this moment, guys. Oh, man. All right, guys, here we go. Let's go ahead and move on. So where are we at after this? All right, cool. So we got a couple more things to talk about here, but let's jump into Samoa Joe addressing the NXT universe. So as we all know, Samoa Joe is now a three-time NXT champion. He essentially comes out and says that, he has the benefit of experience because he's been a three-time champion, and he calls himself the King of Savages. I like that. I'm a fan of that. So then he eventually gets around the point where, like, who's next? Who's he going to challenge next? Et cetera, et cetera. And then we see Pete Dunne. I told you we were going to talk more about Pete Dunne later on the show. Well, Pete Dunne comes out and I'm like, oh, yeah. Yes, this is what I want. This is what I want. I'm, internally freaking out. I'm very excited about this. I'm a fan of this. I'm really loving it. And then we see LA Knight come out. And I'm thinking to myself, no, get out of here. I'm sorry, but there are levels here. And I know I'm a little bit rough. LA Knight has a great personality and all of that. Really great mic skills, really a great personality, lots of charisma. But in terms of in-ring work, I want to see Pete Dunne, Samoa Joe, and I don't want anybody messing with that. But anyway, so he comes out and I'm thinking, no. Just no. But then afterwards, we see Kyle O'Reilly coming out and he starts making fun of LA Knight. He calls him La Knight. And he starts making fun of his knockoff Stone Cold Steve Austin vest. And he's, essentially trying to, get all these one-liners in. And some of them were funny. I thought they were fine. But then so as he's doing this, then we see Ridge Holland come out and attack Kyle O'Reilly from behind. And then NXT turns into AEW, ladies and gentlemen, because a bunch of stuff just starts happening here. So let me kind of tell you what goes down. We see Pete Dunne and Samoa Joe staring down each other, but then afterwards, Thatcher comes from behind and jumps Pete Dunne, and then that pretty much closes out that little portion of this here. So here's what I'm trying to get at. One of my predictions when I did the NXT Takeover 36 recap is that there are a lot of options for who this next challenger could be to Samoa Joe. So my hope, I know a lot of people want to see this match, Samoa Joe versus Walter, but you can't just give him Walter right now because Walter just got out of this loss. So my prediction or my fantasy booking per se is I would like to see a tournament. Do a tournament on NXT. You got plenty of time to do this on NXT. You got time. You got TV time. Do it. Do a tournament. Have Walter win and have it be Walter versus Samoa Joe. Or you can also do Samoa Joe versus Kyle O'Reilly. You can do Samoa Joe versus Pete Dunne, especially going back to Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly just got that win over Adam Cole. You don't want everything that they built up there to essentially be deflated. You want to actually see something come out of that. So I do think that could be an option there as well. So what I'm saying here is they got options. All right. And there's way to work people into these options. So I'm excited about Samoa Joe being champion, and I'm excited about the possibilities of what they can do here. So let's see what we got here. We got a lot of people sending in different things here. Let's see what you guys are saying here. This one is from Pomi, who says, do Joe versus Knight and Ciampa as his next two defenses safe done for a title change at TakeOver? Like they could just they could feed Alley Knight to him just to have somebody, you're going to want to have Samoa Joe have a pretty lengthy title run. Maybe not the lengthiest, but a nice chunk of time. So you could give him LA Knight to, get some wins here and not, lose the battle or anything. Because I don't think anybody's expecting LA Knight to be NXT champion anytime soon. So, or who knows, because they are making those NXT changes. So maybe I might just bite my tongue there. And we got a comment from Joel Fernandez, who says, while we all want to see Samoa Joe versus Pete Dunne for the NXT Championship, but now we have to choose between Joe having a short title reign or Pete Dunne losing another NXT championship match. Exactly. That is what I'm getting. That's what I was trying to get at right now with LA Knight. Could possibly be an option just to at least make it a somewhat lengthy run, because I feel like right now all of the latest NXT Championship runs have been somewhat short. And I'm not you guys know this. I've said this a million times. I'm not a fan of short title reigns. I like for the belt to be on somebody for a very long time. But will it be Samoa Joe? I don't know. I don't know. So thank you so much to Joel for sending in this comment as well. All right, guys. And yeah, a lot of people are basically saying, we got somebody from Four Door Soup who says, exactly, don't give it to Dunne yet. I don't want to see him lose yet. Yeah, I don't want to see him lose either. We all know that about. Yeah, I don't want to see him lose either. Brandon says Pete Dunne and Joe have been staring at each other too much for the past few months to not have a match. They're either having a match or falling in love. Hell, maybe they're falling in love. We don't know. Just kidding. That was a joke, BTW. And BTW, we have a new YouTube member. Shout out to Angel Jackson, who just became a member here on the YouTube channel. If you guys want to become a member of the YouTube channel, come on over, become a member. You get a bunch of exclusive content and lots of really awesome stuff. So if you guys want to, send it in, guys. All right, here we go. Let me move on from all of this. And all right, I already told you guys the Ted DiBiase thing. Backstage, here we go. Let's talk about Kyle O'Reilly for a second, because backstage we do see a quick attack from Duke Hudson onto Kyle O'Reilly. And if you're forgetting who Duke Hudson is the guy that was in the NXT Breakout tournament. And I wasn't that big of a fan, guys. I don't see it. And this is just a character-wise, I'm not into Duke Hudson. He hasn't given me anything where I'm like, I want to see him again. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a fan yet. It takes me a while. I don't just become a fan overnight, guys. It takes me a while to become a fan of somebody's. I'm not just sold yet on Duke Hudson. But anyways, he attacks Kyle O'Reilly, so it looks like there's going to be something there. We'll see. And we got a comment from Malcolm who says that he can see Samoa Joe, Pete Dunne being used as a setup for Samoa Joe and Ridge Holland. Yes, that definitely seems plausible. So I do agree with this comment as well. We got a question from Andrew Tam who says, what are your thoughts on WWE having a pay-per-view on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2022? My thoughts are that I'm not going to have the day off. That's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh, well, there goes my day off. I'm working on the holidays. Lovely stuff. No, but in all seriousness, I think it's cool. Like, I like that type of stuff. I like shows, for the holidays. I'm cool with that. I mean, obviously the con side is I have to work, but I think it's fun. I think that sometimes, here's the thing about New Year's Day is that I think sometimes we think that everybody's out partying, having a grand old time. There are so many New Year's days where, I'm just at home doing nothing, absolutely nothing. I find myself bored on January 1st. So I guess it gives me something to do. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people that are probably like, well, you know what? We got plans now for January 1st. Like, I don't think I've done anything cool on January 1st. Literally nothing. So there you go. I got plans now. I got plans. Fantastic. So that's my thoughts, Andrew. Those are my honest thoughts there. And all right, guys, here we go. Twitch Face says, Denise Salcedo's New Year's Rockin' Eve, BTW. That actually, fun fact, that's a bucket list goal of mine. Like, one of my dreams, like this may be dumb, but one of my dreams is to one day be, on television hosting a New Year's Eve show in New York. Like, I've always seen like people, there, you got Ryan Seacrest, you got, all of these, you got Juliana Rancic, you got Lucy Hale. They're out there, doing their New Year's show. Oh, that's my dream. That's my dream, guys. Like, I want to be there someday. I don't care what channel. I want to be on a channel doing one of the New Year's shows. That's been on my bucket list for a very long time. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but it's there. All right. So here we go. Let's move on here. Let's see what else we got. What we got here. And all right. What am I talking about here? Oh, sorry. Okay, there you go. I got a little confused, guys. I thought I said something wrong. I read a comment and I was like, wait, what did I say? But no, I didn't. All right, let's move on. All right, where are we at here? This is a match that I think a lot of people were looking forward to. This is a match that we've been talking about for quite a while on this show because a lot of people wanted to see this match, and we got it. The NXT Breakout Tournament Finals, we had Odyssey Jones versus Carmelo Hayes, and this was a fun match, guys. You got two very likable guys in here. Like I said, I was kind of torn. I didn't know who I wanted to win this. To be frank, I didn't care because I liked both of them. I was cool with whoever won, which is great, I think. You made me essentially like two people. These people got over with me. There you go. They brought something to the table that I thought, you know what? I'm interested in these guys, and they're totally two different performers, two different people with two different vibes. But I liked it. I was a fan of this. So what I in particular liked about this match is that they highlighted the strengths of both of these guys. So Odyssey Jones, he's a big guy. He's a power guy. So you see him in this match, you see Carmelo Hayes trying to take him down. He can't because Odyssey Jones is a big guy. And you see a lot of, different power moves from Odyssey Jones. All right, great. I like all of that. Then you got Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes is a lot more athletic, a lot more agile, a lot faster in the ring, etc. So you see him doing a lot of cool stuff during this match. Bam, that's his strength. So seeing that and seeing it highlighted in this match, I was a fan of this. So I thought that they played they showed both of what these two guys can do, and they did it well here. And this was, I think, maybe it kind of felt like the longest match that we've seen Odyssey Jones in. I think all the other matches were probably just a tad bit shorter. But in terms of big guys, we've been seeing a lot of big guys on WWE that necessarily they aren't that great. Like it took Amaz a hot minute or two to get great. Commander Aziz, not the greatest either. And then we got Shanky and Veer. Well, Shanky, which is a tall one. Shanky's a tall one. Not that great either. So you've seen these big guys that aren't necessarily fabulous, but then you have Odyssey Jones, who's this big guy. And in this match, not once did I think to myself, oh, this guy looks lost, or oh, this guy messed up here. Not once did that happen. So Odyssey Jones, I thought, has a lot of potential. And I'm not just talking about personality wise. I'm talking about, also in ring wise. I liked what we saw from him. In the end, I love the finish because we see Odyssey Jones do a frog splash on Carmelo Hayes, excuse me, and or splash, excuse me, not a frog splash, but I think he did a standing frog splash on him, whatever. But the point is, so he does it. He goes for the pin, and then afterwards we see Carmelo Hayes get him in a crucifix pin, and because again we're talking about this big size from Odyssey Jones, he can't get out of it. He's sort of stuck in there, and so I liked the way that they had Carmelo Hayes win this match. It didn't bury Odyssey Jones whatsoever, and it made them both look good. So with that being said, afterwards, we had William Regal essentially give him his contract where he can challenge for any championship. So I think that a lot of people expect him to challenge for a singles title, whether that be for the Cruiserweight title or whether it be for the NXT North American title or for the NXT championship. Whatever, right? We're all expecting him to go that direction. I actually think it would be a lot cooler if he went a totally different direction. So get this, because both of these guys, like I said, are likable guys. They're both baby faces. Yes, they both bring a different style to the ring, two different styles for sure. But I think that he should that he should team up with Odyssey Jones and use his contract to have them go for the NXT tag team titles. I think that that would be a way to also incorporate Odyssey Jones, because Odyssey Jones has been getting over, and from what we've been seeing on NXT, they recognize that and they're having to move forward. If not, they wouldn't have had him go through this and make it all the way through the finals. And we all know that Carmelo Hayes is not about to become NXT World Champion. He's not there yet. So you don't want to bury the guy coming off of this hype. I think they should go have them team up and have them go for the NXT tag titles. I think that would be a really cool way to go, and it would be unexpected and it would benefit both guys. So that's my opinion on that. What did you guys think of all of this here? Let's see what we got here. This one's from Christopher, who says that Odyssey Jones and Carmelo Hayes have a lot of charisma. Malcolm says, I think they want to avoid Odyssey Jones losing a big main event title match at this stage, hence him losing here and not getting the title match contract. Exactly. There you go. If you want to protect him, but still, have him showcase, still build him up. I think that that's a different direction to go in all of this. Brandon Rosen says, Bronson Reed had all the tools too. Look what happened to him. Dude, I won't be surprised. And this is just a theory, but I won't be surprised if, because they were like, oh, well, we got Odyssey Jones now, we don't need another big guy in Bronson Reed. I wouldn't be surprised if that was like the thought process behind that. I have no idea what the thought process was behind that, but still, I'm trying to find a reason as to why you would release Bronson Reed, a recent former NXT North American champion, not even an NXT North American champion from like 1,000 years ago. No, a recent North American champion. So that's kind of what I want to get at from that, at least. And we got a lot of people just basically saying that they have a bright future ahead of them, etc. And we got a comment from Daytimes Carte, who says, I caught some of NXT today because of you. Oh, thanks. And says, not bad. AEW needs that women's division. Also, Beth is great on commentary. Yeah, I can't argue with this at all. I think that NXT does have a pretty nice variety of their women in the women's division. I do agree with that. And I actually think that Beth is the best one out of Vic Joseph and Wade Barrett. I'm probably a bigger fan of Beth Phoenix on commentary out of all three of those people. And I know a lot of people I feel like sometimes because she's a woman, people are going to see her and judge her differently. I think she's better than both of them. And I think she's a lot smarter on commentary than both of them. 100%. And let's see what we're getting at here. All right, here we go. Let's move on, guys. After this, we got a quick match between Boa and Zion Quinn. And here we go. So earlier, somebody mentioned we were talking about the new NXT and what people are looking for, and, them looking for athletes and people they think could be needle movers and all of that. I think, so we got this match with Boa, right? You guys know I'm not the biggest Boa fan. Everybody knows that, but I got to give him some props here, because I thought his strikes looked pretty good in this match. It was Boa versus Zion Quinn. I thought he didn't look bad. I thought his strikes were perfectly fine, but he ends up getting distracted here, and he gets distracted by Mei Ying, and so Zion Quinn is able to get the win here. So, okay, fine. It wasn't anything memorable, fine, but he gets the win. But I think that Zion Quinn is probably what the future is going to look like. He seems to be the type of guy that when you hear these discussions of this new NXT and who they're looking for, Zion seems to fit all of those prerequisites that they're looking for. He seems to check all the boxes. I don't know anything about him, but here's what I do know. He's a legit rugby player from Australia. So there you go. Athlete, athletic background, check. He's 6'2". That's a big guy. Check. 246 pounds. Not lanky. There you go. check again. I think he's definitely what they're looking for, and that's probably why they had him go in there and have this very quick match. And Zion Quinn seems to be like the type of person that they're looking for. We'll see what happens. Again, there wasn't really much to judge off of this. This was a very fast match. I don't even think I could fairly judge Zion Quinn here, but from the looks of it, he fits the boxes. He fits the criteria. So let's see what we're saying here. And yeah, Joseph Boza brings this up. This is true. He worked SmackDown. He worked the SmackDown Dark match that featured David Hart Smith. Yes, you are definitely right. I think he teamed with Odyssey Jones, didn't he? Someone could correct me on that. But yes, he did work a SmackDown Dark match as well. So that is definitely true here. And let's see what else we got here. I'm going to go through a couple more comments. We got people basically saying they want to see Carmelo Hayes challenge for the Cruiserweight title. Yep, I think that is a direction that they're going to go in. If they're not going to go my direction, because why would they? I do see him it being more plausible, him going for the Cruiserweight title. I do see that for sure. And Brandon says, Zion Quinn seeing the 1,000-year-old woman on the ramps and then decides to leave through the crowd made me laugh. He's a smart dude. Yeah, I did think that was a little funny, and it gave him some personality there. So yeah, I do agree with that. I laughed. I was like, you know what? It's smart. He ended up going a different direction. Saw the character. It was perfectly fine here. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. And all right, what is after this? Okay, let's talk about some of the matches that are going to be taking place next week. Next week, we're going to see Roderick Strong issue an open challenge. We predicted that an option to answer that challenge might be Cameron Grimes. We'll see. Could be definitely somebody else. We're going to see Tommaso Ciampa versus Ridge Holland next week. That match should totally kick ass. And Johnny Gargano versus LA Knight next week. That should be a fun little matchup too. Based on what we saw with LA Knight and Cameron Grimes this past week on NXT TakeOver, and knowing what Johnny Gargano can get out of people, I think that this is a pretty solid matchup coming up as well. Lastly, let's get into the main event, and I'm going to kind of like speed through it just a little bit because I do want to get the main points across here. So we had Legado del Fantasma versus Hit Row. They've been feuding now for several weeks here. And man, I didn't think the start of this match was that great. It kind of took me a while to get into this one. However, once it really picked up, and it ended up being a very, very fun match here. I thought that this was probably the best that Top Dollar has looked. He hasn't been all that impressive to me whatsoever, to be honest. This was probably the most impressive that he's been. We saw him at one point carry all three members of Legado del Fantasma. I'm not gonna lie, I marked a little bit. Thought that was awesome. Afterwards, the final few minutes, like I said, really pick up because you just see all the guys. I mean, they're just going out there and doing a bunch of cool stuff. And these are, you got people like Isaiah Swerve Scott that can do all of this cool stuff. And then, you got, Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde, like all of that. When you have those types of people in there and Santos Escobar and all of that, and Ashanti, like you get to see a very nice variation of a match. So that was a really fun one. In the end, so there was a moment where Isaiah Swerve Scott hits a 450 on Escobar. I thought it was over there. I really thought the match was over here. But then, here we go. We end up seeing B-Fab get involved here. This is not the first time that she's gotten involved whatsoever. And a lot of people have been asking if we were going to see a woman essentially join Legado del Fantasma. And I thought, well, we don't really need one. But a lot of people were basically saying like, yeah, we do, so somebody can counter B-Fab. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So B-Fab gets involved in this match, but then I didn't recognize her, guys. And I know we saw her in a match with Frankie Monet a while back. I didn't recognize Elektra Lopez. She came out and I was like, who's that? And the announcers didn't say anything. No one reacted. And I was like, man, who is that? But anyway, so Elektra Lopez comes out and she ends up hitting B-Fab like right in the gut with a bat. I'm pretty sure it was a bat. Yeah, it was a bat. And she just like smashes her. And I was like, holy damn, girl. And so that was pretty much what went down there. So now it looks like Elektra Lopez is joining in with Legado del Fantasma. And that ended up helping them get the win, obviously. I mean, it was good stuff. I like the way that the show ended. So a little bit about Elektra Lopez. She signed earlier this year, 2021. She signed during the February class, along with Gigi Dolan, Cora Jade, and Zeta Ramir. And those are people that we have already seen on NXT. And again, she had a match with Frankie Monet. I remember when everybody was like putting her over because she looks great. Like, she looks great. Elektra Lopez looks great. So we'll see how she plays into this. I think it's going to be a fun little dynamic that we're going to see now, how Elektra Lopez is going to fit in with Legado del Fantasma, because they haven't had a woman. So it is going to be interesting to see how all of that plays out. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was NXT. And I'm going to kind of go through a little bit here. See if we have any other comments. We have people, some saying they didn't like the finish. Some people definitely did like the finish. So I guess it really just depends. Oh, thank you, Josh. It wasn't a bat. It was a pipe. Excuse me. Never mind. Not a bat. Correction. It was a pipe. For the most part, though, still very awesome. And let's see if we got any other comments here. Brandon says he felt the finish made Swerve look stupid. Anyone else in this group agree? I think I was very distracted. I think they had to get the finish, though, like this, because if you're incorporating this new member, you want to have her come in and, be an asset to the team. And if she can be an asset to the team, then it gets over, right? So I didn't mind it too bad, honestly. I really didn't. And I think we got pretty much everything there, guys. Roman says that he thought that it made her look smart. I'm guessing Elektra. I'm guessing you thought it made Elektra look smart. Not sure. Let's see what we got here. That's pretty much it, guys. Okay, we do have some people saying that they thought that Swerve arguing with the ref was a lame finish. All right, so not everybody's in agreement here. So, and Four Doors says the roll-ups are always lame. That's definitely true there. And we got a comment from Joelle who says, NXT is still a good show for what it is. Whatever changes we read about, it's in the future. We won't see that anytime soon. I do think it is going to be soon. Yes, it is going to be soon. And I don't think the changes are far away. I think they're a lot closer than we think. So that's pretty much it. All right, guys, there you go. That was NXT. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. For those of you guys that did, if you're watching the replay, I hope you enjoyed it. Guys, before I go, I do want to take a second to promote my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo, because there are, I think, 23 brand new interviews up on my channel. If you guys haven't been seen, I've been very, very busy. I got interviews with Bianca Belair, which is now one of my most watched wrestling interviews of all time. It's nearly about to hit 200K. Please take a chance and go look at it, because YouTube is being very nice to me with that video right now. So go and check it out. Give it a like, leave a comment, whatever the case may be, go give it some love. I have interviews with Bianca Belair. I have interviews with Nikki Bella, which I just uploaded. Eva Marie, Dewdrop, Rhea Ripley, Nikki Ash, Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal. I'm blanking. I'm like, who else? There's more. I'm blanking on them right now, but head on over there, guys. Matt Riddle was another one. Head on over there, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. Hit that subscribe button. I finally surpassed the 40K. And again, you get to see all of those interviews. Also, if you haven't subscribed here to F4W Online, please make sure you guys do so. We are making our way over to 100K. Join the family. Hit that subscribe button. I'm sure if you're already here, you're already subscribed. But again, make sure you subscribe. I will see you guys tomorrow for AEW Dynamite, and then Friday for Smackdown and Rampage. Bye, everybody. Thank you.